We're recording. How you doing today, Jackie?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. Minus it being slightly warm in here.
It's gonna be okay. I think we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
I'm really appreciative of complimentary water. That's
Yeah,
great. So
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you need something to wet your whistle when you're talking for an hour.
A whole hour? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, that's what I typically do.
Okay.
Do you think
All
we
right.
can go that long?
I can talk forever. That's not a problem with me.
Now, you said you've done podcasts before.
Yes,
you
just
do
the one,
media things all the time.
I do.
What
yeah.
is that like?
Yeah, no. So I'm kind of one of the many faces of high caliber karting. So
We're just jumping right into high caliber.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm doing all of those things at. So it's for my job as the marketing director, aka the Master of Mischief. That's what I do a lot. But
That's your title.
yes, the official title is Master of Mischief. But for people who don't know what that is, I'm the marketing director. So, but I do a lot. I appear on commercials a lot. I do morning talk shows. I do podcasts, radio commercials, everything like that. So,
What is that like?
what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, what is it like being essentially the face of
A face.
A face
of high caliber.
of many faces?
Of many faces, yes.
My
My boss has been saying the face. I was like, no, I'm just one of them. But it's great. I absolutely love it. I've always kind of been, I guess, an attention seeker, you could call it. But this is just part of the job. I mean, as if you actually view this video or not, I have colorful hair. It's kind of died out right now, but I've always kind of been a peacock, so I don't mind getting in front of the camera or behind a mic or anything like that, and just, letting my weirdness come out in all these different shapes and forms. So
Do you typically prepare for it? I mean, what is the process like for you going on camera? Because, I mean, obviously you're representing like a company, a
Yeah.
business. I mean, for me, like when I do the podcast, I'm like, I'm just representing myself.
yeah.
So it's not like I have to worry about what I say necessarily.
I'm kind of filter free. I would have dressed up a little bit more had I known that there was a camera here today, but that's okay.
But I think people appreciate
The down to earth
Yeah.
Jackie. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? So to prep, I do usually, have a full face of makeup on. I curl my hair. I make sure I look fun and friendly. I'm very intentional in all of my outfits, and even like down to the jewelry and everything like that. Am I accenting correctly? All of those other different things.
accenting.
Yeah, like with my jewelry. Like,
Right.
So High
Okay.
Caliber has our primary brand colors are black and red and white. So I do a lot of black and red in my jewelry and my eye makeup and everything like that to match my media jacket that I usually wear. I think I was wearing it the day that you
were.
recorded. Yeah, this bright, sparkly, excuse me, bright, sparkly red jacket. I call it my media appearance jacket, so I do wear it for like all of our interviews or big events or anything that we wear, anything that we do there. So, but to get in the mind, so that's what I do physically. And then to get into the mind space of being that face and being that almost like a character, right? But I'm playing myself
Right.
because I'm naturally fun, I think. But I usually listen to certain music, on the drive-in. Like I had like one of my bops on. I was like, yeah, this gets me in the right headspace and everything like that. I crank up the music. I try to take a nap beforehand if I need to. I know that's kind of weird, but if I know I'm having a long night or anything like that, I'm gonna take a nap at work and get up so I can be ready for an award show or a media appearance or anything like that. So
Yeah. I mean, when you're in a position like you kind of have to get into that space a little bit.
yeah.
I used to, when I first started this podcast, I would get so nervous before interviews. I'm like, I would just get anxious, super
Yeah.
anxious, and I would
Yeah.
start doing push-ups.
Push-ups. Okay.
Yeah, it would help me like just clear my mind.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'd feel at ease.
I feel like that the music's that for me. It's
Yeah.
just like getting into the right playlist, making sure I'm like, I was gardening yesterday with my mom, and she likes 80s and 90s pop music. So I was playing that on my Bluetooth speaker and everything. And when I went into my car, it automatically started playing what I was playing yesterday. And it was like Tina Turner. And I was like, okay, I was like, this is not the jam for me right now. So I immediately went into my playlist and I found something to like get me in the right mindset.
Like,
to
what's
come in.
love?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I honestly think so. And I was like, whoa, like usually I just sang it at karaoke the other day with Zach Bingham, our general manager at High Caliber. But we all had only done it because she had recently passed too. So it's not usually my typical type of music, but I was like, okay, gotta change this immediately right now.
One of the funniest moments for me with Tina Turner was I was taking, I think, the trash out, and I walked through the garage, and I was like, I think I was playing it, and I was like, "What's love got to do with it?"
Yeah.
And my neighbor was outside and heard me, and I was like, "That's embarrassing." I like came around the corner, and she's just like staring at me, and I'm like, "That's embarrassing."
Yeah. Oh no,
And
I
then
have
she
a
just started
really
laughing,
embarrassing story like that from when I was like in high school. I was walking my dog around the block, and I was listening. This is back when we had CD-ROMs, portable CDs that we would listen to. And I was like listening to like a Scooby-Doo soundtrack. And I was just like belting out this song in my own little world and everything like that. And apparently the track team or the cross-country team was out like running, and I had a crush on like one of those runners. And I'm just like chilling out. I'm doing my own thing. And then all of a sudden he just like whips right past me, and I'm like singing and dancing. I was like, this is the most embarrassing moment of my entire life.
Did it ruin your chances?
I mean, probably. I don't have the best singing voice.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's really funny.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, but yeah, I was just, trying not to make sure my CD would skip, but I was.
Do you know what's funny? I think so many people have, like they have music that they listen to that they would be embarrassed to know other people, like they'd be embarrassed for other people to hear them listening to it.
I don't think I'm like that at all.
No?
I'm really, I'm out unproud, about whatever it is I listen to. I have been getting into a little bit more of like country emo sad music.
What is
like,
that?
I know, it's so weird. It's all over TikTok, like making fun of like elder emos. It's like, you used to listen to like this pop punk rock music of like Screwing Over the Man and like all of this other stuff, and now you're just listening to like really sad country songs about like how life is just disappointing you. And I'm like, oh man.
What is an example? Do you have any names?
Like Stick Season by Noah something or another. He's like one of my popular guys. Yeah, I don't have service down here, so you'll have to find him. But that's a good one. That's a good sad, like kind of country song. It's like folksy. I would say it's more folksy than it is like country. But,
okay.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Stick Season.
Stick Season.
Yeah, by Noah something or another. And I sing that one at karaoke pretty often. I'm pretty good at that one. I can do the sad country songs, but I don't like listening to country, so it's like, I call it more a folk. I mean, think that makes it more palpable for me.
So do you not like the classic country, like the old school country, or like
I grew
the
up
new...
on it when I was younger, when I was way young, right? Like 4 or 5 years old. Like I would listen to country all the time.
You're from the West, out West.
No, I was only out West for a couple of years. So I'm actually from Ohio originally.
Oh.
I grew up in Ohio, went to Kent State University, and then my first big girl job took me out to Colorado, and I was out there for 8 years. Oh. So.
All right, I got it right here.
You got it? Stick Season? That's a good one. Oh, you got an ad first, though.
Yeah, lovely.
Noah Khan. Yeah, I was totally off on that last name.
Let's see here.
But he's a good one. I like him.
I don't know if it'll play volume.
We're trying here. Maybe not.
Nope, not playing. All right, I'm not going to waste my time.
It's okay. It's a good one. You should go listen to it. It's on Spotify.
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, no, he's a good one. No, I don't have any problems with what I listen to or having other people listen to it. I do listen to work. I mean, while I'm at work, I have my Spotify playlist, and I go through like different genres every day, like depending on what I'm doing. But some of the time it's like a little too party girl, and like somebody will walk in and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like that's the only time I'm embarrassed is like if it's like just like Nicki Minaj and like Cardi B, and I'm just like,
I just remember like back when I was in high school, everybody, not even high school, like
in high school, yeah, I didn't want anyone to know if I was listening to something uncool.
Middle school, everybody talked crap about like the Backstreet Boys. Like, oh, you like the Backstreet
Boys?
I
was a Backstreet Boy girl forever. Like, and my best friend was an NSYNC girl, but like we both liked both of their music and everything. But yeah, no, it wasn't embarrassing for me though because I was a girl.
That's true. Yeah, if you're a guy, people are like, you like the Backstreet.
Yeah, it'd be embarrassing then for you, but for me, it's just.
But every guy, every time I Want It That Way comes on the radio, every guy sings it.
Oh yeah, no. At karaoke, we actually have these regulars who are, and I know we keep bringing it up, but there's so many good stories there. We had these couple of regulars that are between the ages of like 20 and 22 maybe, so they're obviously like over from MSU, and they came over. They came back to back for a couple weeks. I think while school was in session, and they're out now. But they did I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys, and they introduced themselves as like the opposite of the Backstreet Boys. They said, we're the Front Avenue fellas, and like, we just love them. And eventually they choreographed this whole dance for it and everything. They're like
that's
pointing,
awesome.
And there's like 4 to 5 of them who always do it because we have this really big stage, and it's so much fun, and it was just so goofy to see like these couple of 20-year-old dudes like.
That's really cool.
It's so funny because I see these young people doing karaoke songs, and they're doing songs I listened to while growing up. And it's so strange for me because my favorite karaoke songs are the songs from the 80s, like the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
So those are the ones I love to do. So hearing young people who are like 10 years younger than me, 10, 15 years younger than me, listening and doing karaoke the same mindset I would do it to like Group Love and other just like indie pop alternative songs from like the 2000s and 2010s. And I'm just like, you're hurting me internally. Like I was doing one song and I was like Blink 182. I was going to do a Blink 182 song and somebody's just like, oh yeah, that's like classic rock. And I was like, oh, dust. You can just blow me away right now. Like it was so mean. I was like, it wasn't intentional, right? Like she probably thought I was her age because I do come off as like very young and everything. But I'm just like, that's who I listened to growing up. It's not classic. It's still very relevant today. They're still making music.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's really funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of funny how music changes too. And like music, like with the younger generations, like, I don't know, like a younger generation, like people in the younger generations, like that's so long ago, but
yeah,
it was just
it's mean.
Yeah, it's so mean and hurtful.
It's so mean. That's just me. But I've always been one of those people. Like I worked for a government contractor for a while. I was working at the United States Air Force Academy, and I'm 27 at the time maybe, and I'm around all of these like young cadets, and they're trained to call you ma'am, right?
Oh,
regardless. And I'm from the Midwest, right? I'm from Ohio, and I'm currently in Colorado. And when somebody would call you ma'am, and you clearly did not have children with you, it was a slur. It was practically a slur. It was like an insult. It was just like, no. Like one time I did have like, I was wearing like tennis shoes and like high water jeans. I had just like walked the dogs or something, and I had to wear my tennis shoes because they're a handful. And I was at the coffee shop and I went inside for it. It was a Starbucks. And I ordered coffee. And she's like, oh, here's your order, ma'am. And she like looked me dead in the face when she said ma'am. And I was like, oh, why? I was like, I'm wearing my dog mom shoes. Leave me alone. I don't really have kids. But it was just so frustrating because I was like, no, it was every day. It was like the cadets were just like, ma'am. And I was like, no, please don't. No.
It's so weird that we're like that here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such a, I don't know, it's almost like, yeah, like you said, it's almost like an insult.
Yeah, it
like
really
is,
at least
old.
yeah. And I know it's supposed to be, and like everyone's like, Jackie, that it's just a sign of respect. I was like, it's the opposite in Ohio. Like, if a young person calls you ma'am, they're calling you old.
So where in Ohio were you raised? Where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in this tiny little small town called Elmore, Ohio. It's near Bowling Green or Sandusky, over by Cedar Point. Cedar Point was like about 20 minutes drive away, so I had season passes a lot. Very small town. And my town was so small that it was actually two towns combining to make my high school graduating class. So we were Woodmore High School. Wow. There was 90 of us who graduated. So like that's how small we were. And we were two towns combined to even get that many. So it was a village. Crazy. And then I went to school at Kent State University over by Cleveland in a little Kent, which is a college town, just like MSU and Lansing and everything like that. It's not the capital of the state or anything, but very similar to MSU. So very
cool. And then you went to school for marketing?
I did. So I actually started off getting a bachelor's in science for speech pathology and audiology, and I hated it.
What is that?
It's like it's when you can be teaching. A lot of it for me was like as a younger person, I couldn't speak all that well. I couldn't like pronounce certain words like animal or helicopter, airplane, like all these things. Yeah.
What was that? Was it like
I think it was just it was a speech impediment, but I think it's also just undiagnosed ADHD because I was, you
rattle things really quickly.
Yeah, and then like they weren't really diagnosing women back then in the 90s either.
Really?
So,
just women.
No. I mean ADHD and like all of that stuff was like so brand new back then.
Right.
So a lot of.
But why'd you say women?
Because I didn't get diagnosed myself. I didn't even realize I had ADHD until I was kind of told by my TikTok algorithm like 3 years ago. And then I spoke to my doctor about it. And then I took like this little self-diagnosis test with them. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you have ADHD. And I was like, that's not just my personality. I thought I was just quirky. So like, I just don't think that individuals, especially in such a small town, or doctors, I don't think my mom knew to ask about it or anything because I was still a straight A student. So it's just like, oh, she always got labeled in the chat box. Like there was a naughty list on every elementary school's teacher, right? Like it was like you were stuck in the chatter box or something like that. My name was in there every single day. But no, like nobody saw that as like necessarily like an ADHD thing, right? Because it shows differently in women than it does men or young children. And everyone just said like, oh, she's so smart, but she can't keep her mouth shut. So don't place her next to other people.
What are some of the differences between men and women for ADHD, like symptoms?
I mean, for men, they usually act out like physically, right? Or like they can't sit still. They do a lot of like the knee jiggling or anything like that. They're always like distracting themselves, right? But for a woman, it's more about, or at least young girls, it's more verbal and more mental, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to talk the whole time. I don't understand this, so I'm going to continue talking, you know, like, or like, I'm bored with this. I'm getting bored with this really easily. It's also about sleep. I couldn't sleep for the longest time when I was younger. I just couldn't shut off my brain. So like I've been taking melatonin practically my entire life.
Is that healthy? Doesn't your body stop producing it after a while?
I mean, I take a break on the weekends sometimes. I tried taking breaks from it pretty often, but yeah, no. So it's just like one of those things where like my brain would never shut off, and I was always interrupting people, and I could never get a good night's sleep or anything like that because it would take forever for me to fall asleep because my brain was just so overactive and overgoing things in the day or thinking about said crush or something like that.
Right.
You know, just silly things like that. But.
So do you do things now to help try to like keep you focused?
I try to. I've played around with like a lot of different medications, but since I do work at and they work for the most part, they make me, I could never take it on days that I have to be creative. I have to be very creative in my job. So if I was going to be going to something like this, or if I was having a brainstorming day on like future videos with my marketing partner, I would not want to take those, right? But on a day where I'm pitching out a press release and I'm sending that out and it's just like a whole bunch of grunt work or something like that.
You want to stay focused?
I want to stay focused, then I would take it. But ironically at High Caliber, I've kind of weaned myself off of it because all the management, I think, has some form of ADHD one way or another.
You kind of have to, right? When you work there?
You kind of do. Yeah, exactly. Because it's always just so much fun. And I'm a little bit more coarse or too direct as at least a woman, you know, to the point where people are just like, Jackie, you're being mean. And I'm like, no, I'm just being direct. Like, if I was a man, you wouldn't say that. But it's just one of those things where it's you have to figure out the right dosage and where it's going to work and everything like that. Like I'm probably going to not take it on Monday, but then I would have to take it on Tuesday, but I have to look at my schedule to see if I can take it on Tuesday because I think I have to go somewhere on Tuesday. So like if I want to be bright and sunshiny Jackie that like makes a memory with a person, that makes somebody smile, right? Which is all part of my job too, is bringing that joy and being memorable because we don't sell a product, we sell an experience. So us as individuals are part of that experience.
That's a huge responsibility too.
I guess.
Because you have to be vibing quite right? Like you have to be on a certain like frequency. Mm-hmm. You can't, I mean.
The drugs don't help with that. So,
no.
Like, that's why like I've just kind of weaned myself off of that at this point. I'm like, well, I'll just be rattled with ADHD. So it's fine.
Have you tried like doing any like holistic type of things? Like even just like working out to help?
I wish. I'm better. I am better at it when I am going to the gym and everything like that. But it's so hard keeping like an actual routine a lot of the time for me. So. Yeah. But.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
you can just poke out my little flaws. Yeah,
no.
I know I need to go to the gym.
No, I'm just asking because like that's one thing. I'm pretty sure I have like ADD too.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's hard for me to focus. But like if I work out or if I go for a long run and I exhaust myself in that aspect, then I can come back to my work or whatever I'm doing, and I can focus better.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I mean, like my doctor and I did just have a wellness check-in with her and everything like that. And I'm struggling with my energy, taking a lot of naps, things like that. And, you know, that was one of the things, like wake up first thing in the morning, drink an entire glass of water and immediately like take the dogs for a walk or do some sort of exercise twice a day, you know, at least for 15 minutes, things like that. So I think she's trying to help me battle that by doing the more holistic things since I didn't like taking the drugs since it like just made me a little bit more rougher on the edges. So
I remember when I was young, I was in high school. My adopted mom thought I was ADD, and I'm like, I'm not ADD.
It's so hard to accept.
It really is, and it's because it's almost like you're labeled with something.
Yeah.
And like back when I was in school, being labeled with something was like it's like you're I don't know, like you're special because you were labeled with ADD or ADHD or whatever. Like you don't want to be othered. And so I got diagnosed with ADD. Got what's the drug?
Adderall.
Adderall. Thank you.
It's
I was
the basic
given
one, yeah.
I was given Adderall, and I didn't like the way it made me feel. Like I stopped eating. I wasn't hungry. I could focus better, but I didn't like it at all. And so I started dumping them down the drain.
Yeah.
And I started doing better in school. I just started focusing more because I knew I didn't want to take the drugs.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh yeah, the Adderall is really working for you."
Joke's on you, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. My grades went up, everything went up, and then when I became an adult, I told her, I'm like, I was dumping those down the drain.
You could have saved her some money. Jeez.
I didn't care. No, she deserved it. But yeah, that's not a good relationship. But but yeah, so for me, like I've always kind of been, I don't know, like I guess I never really wanted to rely on something like that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to find a way to cope.
Yeah. It's, I mean, but sometimes like there is the necessity
absolutely
of that, because I mean, I've been on my anxiety has been popping up a lot lately then too. So like that's another reason why my doctor is working on my mental health with that, since it's probably I vape. I drink too much coffee. She's like, you should really she's like, how much coffee do you drink in a day? I was like, how much is too much? And she's like, anything more than 1 8-ounce cup, Jackie. I was like, oh, I drink like half a pot. I have a problem. But
there's a guy I work with. I was just talking to him the other day, and he was like, because he has this giant thermos, like this big.
Yeah,
and
it's huge.
And then he has a coffee cup that's like a Yeti. It's at least probably 16 ounces, I would think. And
he drinks both of them?
Both of them.
Every day?
Every day.
That cannot be good.
And I'm like, I don't see
think I'm that bad, but like maybe I am.
I'm like, I don't see you drink anything else. Do you drink anything else? He's like, no, I drink pretty much coffee all day long.
It's technically water. That's what I tell myself. It's just
yeah, but
water.
It dehydrates you. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm like, does it affect you? Like, because when I drink more than, I'd say like 10 ounces, that's what I drink every day is 10 ounces for the most part. If I drink more than that, I feel gross. Like I can't control. I can't control myself. Like I'm jittery.
I feel like I'm you know how there's morning birds and night owls, right? I feel like I'm one of those. It's online a lot. I'm a perpetually exhausted pigeon. That's what I am. Like I'm not either. I'm just always tired.
Just always tired.
Yeah. So that's why she's like, maybe you should do more things. And I'm like, oh.
You should get that as a tattoo, like Post Malone.
I know. Right? Just like a pigeon, like perpetually exhausted. Get it somewhere. My ankle or something like that.
Get it on your face.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That's the OG move right there.
No.
Face tats. Those are actually becoming a thing.
I know. Well, I mean, like as the younger generation, as us, like fellow millennials are moving into those HR roles and business roles where it's like we don't care. We don't care.
Yeah.
If you have you're still hireable. You have a skill set. Come in.
Right. I like seeing that, honestly. Yeah. Like I think it's. I mean, I don't think I would ever get a face tattoo.
Yeah.
Just because like. I like
never,
my face, but
I never thought I would ever get a neck tattoo, but a lot of people have been like, at my old job, they're like, you would look good with one. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. And I've been like thinking about it. I was like, I kind of think I would look good with a neck tattoo.
You seem like a person that would have like tattoos everywhere.
Right? I'm working on it. I just have 2 large ones right now, but yeah.
What would you get on your neck?
I don't know, probably something just like floral or a galaxy or something like that. Just like, something that can like fill up the space a lot, or just like a single like vine of flowers or something. I don't know.
I feel like when somebody has a neck tattoo, that's like a sign of like I'm not gonna fuck with that person. like there's a guy at work that has a neck tattoo. It was like an owl, and didn't look like aggressive or anything.
Yeah,
just an owl. But I'm like, he's somebody I would not mess with.
Yeah,
if you're willing to get a neck tattoo, it's like having a face tattoo.
I know, right? I would never do anything on my face. I mean, like I have my nose piercing, but like that's about it. But like I feel like it would be something just like small and delicate. It wouldn't be like a full piece. It would just be like an accent. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I love tattoos.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun. My husband the other day, it was my birthday. He was like, what do you want? I was like, money for a tattoo. I'm ready for my next one. Take me. So.
That's funny. So how long have you been in Lansing? I know we talked a little bit about this when I interviewed you at High Caliber, but let's kind of like go through that a little bit. When did you come to Lansing?
Yeah.
How did you get to Lansing?
How'd I get here?
What brought you here?
I drove here.
You didn't take a horse and carriage?
I did not take a horse and carriage or an airplane. I mean, it's a long drive. It's a 24-hour drive. I had to come out here with my babies, though. I have 2 dogs. So I moved here in March of last year, so 2022. And I was living down in Brooklyn with my brother for a couple of months before we could find a house in Lansing. So I started working at High Caliber in April. I've been there for a little over a year now. And then I feel like I had my second coming at work and to the Lansing area after I did finally get my home. And that was like over the 4th of July weekend last year. So I've been there for almost a year now. And after I got here, you know, I was just able to like really integrate more with Lansing and be able to start going to all the networking events you see me at and like everything like that. So I was just able to really get my hands and feet into the dirty ground of Lansing.
So
not that Lansing has dirty. I just that came out wrong. You're gonna use that as a sound clip. Don't do that.
I should totally use that as a sound. So that's a good one. Now, coming from like a small town, a town where obviously there's not many people, there's probably not much to do other than Cedar Point.
You would think that as a teenager, yes, 100%. Yeah. So Elmore, my dad was actually the mayor of Elmore for my entire life until he passed away when I was 23 and in school. Wow. So pretty much he like, the previous mayor was like stepping down and he stepped up and I was like literally just out of the womb when that happened. Wow. So then he like ran for mayor when I was like 2 and used me in like all of his propaganda as a baby. Things that you wouldn't be able to.
So you've always been a public figure.
Yeah. Without even like realizing it too, which is wild because we were talking about school originally. We really went off track there. Speech pathology, right? I went in and this kind of goes into it though. I went in for speech pathology. I absolutely hated it. And then I got a master's degree, a Master of Arts in Public Relations and Marketing. PR was really like my sweet spot. That's what I really enjoyed. Marketing was more about products and math and sales stats, and it was just boring for me. I'm a creative individual, so I prefer the marketing campaigns that go behind those things. So I am, let's see, I'm in my junior year of speech pathology, and that's when you really get into your like dirty coursework for that. Before that, it's all electives and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And you start realizing like, wow, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I was 20, and I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this at all. Like, no. So my best friend of my entire life, she was like, Jacki, why don't you look into public relations? I was like, what is that even? Like, I had never heard of it. It was 2020, or sorry, 10. It was 2010. And I came from a small town. I didn't really know anything about marketing or PR or that it was a job or anything like that. And she's like, oh, like in 2008, that's when I graduated high school. It was the bubble bursting of print media. Print media was about to die, but the internet was really starting to take off at this time. So I wanted to go to school for journalism or media or film or something like that. My mom didn't want to pay for me to go to school for that. So that's why she forced me into speech pathology, and I hated it. But we didn't realize that, you know, media was just transitioning to online. Like newspapers were dying out, magazines were dying out, but everything was moving online. And we had no idea that's how it was transition or anything like that. So when my best friend said like, oh, you would be like a personal writer for a brand, I was like, oh, I could get on that because my mom always wanted me to have job stability. Joke's on her. I've been all over the place. But, so I decided to get a degree in public relations, which of course I had never heard of beforehand, but that's how she described it to me. And I was like, I'd be a personal writer for a brand. I was like, yeah, dope. And that's how I got into PR. And then as I developed and was in college and doing my internships and gone throughout years, you know, I realized I had actually already been doing public relations and marketing since I was a child because of my dad. Like, so small town, but my dad put on the biggest small town events all the time. And I was always at them. I was like little Goldilocks, just like I was like literally an accent piece for him, almost like a prop, you know, like, but I also really enjoyed doing it. You know, at the age of 4, he had me working at town festivals where I was like, there was a giant tub of freezing ice water with all of the sodas in there, and I would be the person getting the sodas out for like people, like cool. And stuff like that. So at the age of 4, I've been volunteering my entire life for this town, and you know, I would be doing the things like taking just like stake yard signs, you know, putting those around town for like things with him. You know, I would just accompany him everywhere, and all these little things were advertising and marketing. I just never realized it. And as a kid, you know, those old catalogs, he would get these catalogs of just like promo material, you know, like pens or like business cards, you know, things like that. And for fun, I would flip through those and I would like circle things. I was like, this is cool. Like it was like a toy catalog, and I was like 12. I was like, oh, I would get these are really cool, you know, stuff like that. And it's so like, I've kind of been a part of marketing and PR my entire life without even realizing it. I've always wanted to be a writer. I get to do that all the time. I get to be creative all the time. And I guess destiny just kind of like pushed me that way without even realizing it. I've been kind of pre-programmed for it.
Wow, that's really cool. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Because you were kind of like, Yeah, that's like your life path.
Yeah.
So
and I never realized it
Yeah.
until I got into it. And I was like, I've been doing this my whole life. And it kind of became my pitch for myself when I would be interviewing. I was like, oh yeah, no, I've been doing this stuff like my entire
Forever.
life without realizing it. So.
And you love it.
I do. Yeah, I do. It has its ups and downs, but yeah, I definitely love it. It's fun. It's one of, I couldn't be a pencil pusher. I couldn't be doing math or anything like that all day. And, you know, I get to use my brain and I get to be bright and sunny for the most part and do really cool things like this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And be creative on top of it. Cause that's something that I think a lot of people lack in their jobs and and that's why they don't like what they do is the fact that they can't be creative.
Exactly.
They don't get to create something, and including me, like I work at General Motors.
Yeah.
And so once I started doing this podcast, I felt like I had like purpose and meaning because I'm doing something. I'm doing something for myself and I'm doing something for others and I'm creating something.
Yep.
Whereas like working at GM, I'm not really doing anything but helping the company out.
Yeah.
So
you're just doing the grind.
Yeah, just the grind.
Yeah. What I really love, so I've worked all over the place. I've worked for a nonprofit. I've worked for a medical group, the government, and retail as well too. So selling products and everything like that. I've been all over the place. But what I really love about High Caliber is that I'm not selling products. I'm not selling anything like that. I am selling an experience. I'm giving people the opportunity to have a lifelong memory with their family, friends, or coworkers, you know. And that just means so much more to me than any of my other jobs have, because I'm literally helping deliver and curating joy and bringing that to anyone who walks through our doors or even just like does peruse our social media or watches one of our videos or commercials or something like that. Like if it can make somebody smile, like I did my job. And I think that's really wonderful.
Well, and I think it shows too, because when you go there, you have a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not have a blast when you're throwing axes, you're drinking, doing the throwball,
throwballing. You're very close. Yeah.
I was going to ask, is that what it's called?
It's technically called foaling, but that's trademarked. So we call it throwballing.
Okay.
So.
And then the go-karts.
Yeah, like, the go-karts.
And the jelly blaster.
Jellyball blasters.
Jellyball.
Yeah, very good at calling it a blaster. A lot of people say gun, and I'm like, no, it's a blaster. That's what we call it. Get out of here.
Well, you feel like you get blasted by those
Yeah,
things.
Exactly.
They hurt.
Yeah. If you're 10 feet away, they do not hurt if you're using them correctly.
Okay, if you're not using them correctly, they
then
hurt.
Yes, they would hurt.
And they should hurt because you're not following the rules.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you will leave and go home with like welts on you and everything like that. We've open fired on each other like multiple times, and it's just we will leave marks on each other. But if you're using them appropriate, like we dictate, you will be safe and wear a mask.
Well, I think like going to High Caliber, like you said, it is an experience.
Yeah.
And whenever I've gone, I've only gone a couple times.
Yeah.
But when I go, I have so much fun.
Exactly.
How do you not have fun when you do that? And then also when you're waiting in line for the go-karts and you're watching the videos of the owners like screwing around, like that the fun like in them comes out, and people are laughing. Yeah. You're enjoying it. And you're about to go ride go-karts, and I think that
it's all part of the experience. I mean, even just down to the video that you're talking about, like the I forget what we call it, but it's like, you know, the rules and regulations of go-karting, but we still made it just so much so fun and engaging.
It makes you pay attention to the rules.
It does. Yeah, you're slowly learning by laughing.
Right.
So
now, I know you guys do the open mic. Do you guys do
karaoke?
Or I'm sorry, karaoke. Okay. Do you guys do like open mics for like comedy or anything like that?
I know. So literally our ECs, those are the people who work on the floor. We call them experience creators. They have been begging me to do an open mic night. And I'm just like, I'm not the one who makes all these decisions. Do I help with the decisions? Yes, I do. Do I help market these decisions? Yes, I do. But like, I'm not like, they keep coming to me about it. And I'm like, I cannot say yes or no. But they do want an open mic night. Wow. Ooh, what a tongue twister. We've been thinking about it. We'll give it under some consideration. Right now we're focusing a lot on karaoke, and we're moving it from Wednesdays to Fridays for the summer. And that'll be 7 to 11. We're going to extend the hours then too. And then we have, what else do we have? We have trivia every Thursday night, right? And then we're bringing on a new item as well too, which is just for the summer. So I don't want to like overload with too many things. We're doing Big Kid Bingo, which is kind of my little brainchild that I brought from Colorado that I'm very excited about. We're partnering with a radio station, Whittle, #1 in country. Lansing's #1 in country. There we go.
For like 16 years or something like that.
Yeah. So 100.7. Listen in. So they're providing us these Big Kid top tier prizes, which are Detroit Tiger tickets, pairs of tickets to Russell Dickerson and Jameson, some other country last name that I can't remember, and then Steve Miller Band. So every one of these bingos, somebody's going to be leaving with a pair of tickets of one of those events. And then we have all of these other rounds that we'll be building up to that feature prizes from around Lansing. I just picked up some gift cards from the Lansing Brewing Company and then Midtown. We also have Awaken, the haunt attraction down in Leslie. We partner with them a lot. So we have all these other prizes in between for all of these rounds that people get to win. We're doing it for a stint for 6 weeks. We're going to see how that goes, and then we might continue it depending on how well it goes. I hope it's really well received. We're putting a lot of radio ads behind it and everything like that. But so we're trying that out right now. Maybe open mic night during the winter. Who knows? We'll see. I've been busy.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Now, I had a guy on last week. He was running for city council.
Nice.
And he wants to change like kind of the language around, not the talk about Lansing, because Lansing is a capital city, but like he's like we're not really known for much. Like people don't really come here.
Did you see that recent article?
I did. We actually pulled it up on the podcast.
Did you? Yeah. The one where it says Lansing is like
the most
number 97 out of 100. We made the list.
But he's like, people always go to Detroit. They go to Grand Rapids, like when they go out for a day. Yeah. And what's High Caliber doing to like make Lansing a sought out place?
Well, I think everything that High Caliber does kind of does that. We definitely want to be a travel location. We are an attraction. Yeah. I try to do a lot. I mean, I work with the Greater Lansing Visitors and Convention Bureau. Such a long. They just debuted in, what's it called? It is a travel tourist app. Almost, it's a passport, right?
Oh yeah, I heard about that on the radio.
Yes. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Were you? Did you do the ad?
We are part of it. Yeah, we're not part of the drinking one, like the cocktails one, but we are part of the experience pass, which is about all of the different types of experience, like from the zoo to the museums and everything like that, and to help them kind of bolster this app a little bit more too, instead of just doing like a $10, like a $3 off coupon or something like that, like a lot of other brands are doing. I'm doing I think I'm doing a BOGO on it. I think I'm doing like a buy one get one free go-kart race or axe throwing. I can't remember which one it is, but I mean, whenever you come to High Caliber, you're not coming by yourself. You're always going to be coming with someone else. Because High Caliber is for friends, I mean, you can come by yourself. I was going to say,
what if you want to go by yourself?
I mean, you can, the first time I went there, I did go by myself. It was during my interview process, but it was because I was so, like, all of my friends were far away, and Jordan, my future boss and the CEO, was just like, oh, do you want to, like, he's like, I'll give you my credit card so you can experience everything, kind of like as a mystery shopper. Do you want to invite anyone? I was like, they're all working. It was like a Thursday. I was like, I can't ask them to come up, so just stick around with me at my future job. But so I mean, yeah, you can definitely come, and of course you can experience High Caliber and like probably ask some of the ECs or the managers like, hey, you want to go out? Like, we would more than oblige to come like join you on a go-kart race or something like that. But so we are trying with the visitor bureaus and everything like that. I'm really excited for them to do that. I've been pushing that since I got here. I was like, hey, High Caliber will, like, if you would go to print on this, we will sponsor it. Like, we will be like one of the sponsors if you put us at the front and everything like that. I would definitely toss money behind that, because that's another thing that was big in Colorado. It wasn't the experience pass, but it was like a cocktail passport, where like if you go to this bar, you get a stamp and a discount off of this drink, or try this like bar favorite and all these other different things. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I know that when I went to Chicago, you can buy like city passes. Yeah. And so when you buy the city pass, you get access to like the Sheds Aquarium, the Willis Tower.
Oh, that's so cool. To everything?
To pretty much everything. And then on top of it, you get to skip the lines.
Oh.
So like...
It's like a fast pass.
Yeah, it's a fast pass.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like my wife and I went to the Willis Tower, and it was like literally like an 8-hour wait. And we skipped past we jumped on an elevator, went straight to the top. Within 15 minutes, we were in and out.
That's awesome.
It was
Is that the tallest building?
I think so.
Okay.
Or it's at least an attraction.
Why would there be an 8-hour wait for a building?
It's an attraction. I think they've changed it too now, where like the windows on it like tilt out.
Oh, yeah, no, I've seen that on TikTok and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks very scary. I wouldn't be able to look at it. But yeah, no, I mean, it is frustrating, though. I feel like I've found a couple of niches since I've been out here. A couple of, like, my husband and I are really big on, we're kind of food snobs. We don't like to admit that we're food snobs, but we kind of are.
I'm a food snob too.
Yeah,
so it's
no,
okay.
like we can go out and like if we don't get good food or like shitty service, he's immediately put into a bad mood. He's like, why did I ever move here? I've actually tried to convince him to like start a podcast that says like the title would be like really long and just obnoxious. It'd be like, my breadwinning wife made me move all the way to Michigan and the food here is terrible. Hear me rant and review all these different places I think is
that would actually be a good podcast.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I've tried convincing him so many times. I was like, you could just be reviewing all the different places that we've gone to, and it'd be great for like traveling people then too. Would be. You know,
Yeah.
I've tried. Maybe I'll give you his phone number because he needs to do it. I think it'd be the funniest podcast in the world. Like, I went on this date with my wife. The appetizer was great, but then the main, because he gets so very into it. Like when we first moved out here and we were like still we hadn't moved to Lansing yet, so we were still like we were traveling to Ann Arbor, Detroit for like day dates during the weekend and stuff like that. And we tried to go to nice restaurants and all this other stuff, and like one of them was just terrible. It was the Black Pearl, I think, in Ann Arbor. And he hated it. It was not very good. He absolutely just scathed it though. And I was like, Ian, like all of the things you're saying to me right now would be hilarious to the right audience. Not to me, because you're ruining our date right now and I'm not happy about it. But like there are people out here who would love to listen to you just like rant and rave about like the quality of this like dish. So I was like, start a podcast.
That's hilarious. No, I think it's super important too. And honestly, it might keep the restaurants in check a little bit, because
I think so too.
I think that's something that my wife and I complain about a lot too, is like if we go to a restaurant, we actually like the restaurant, but the service is bad. We're like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, service today is terrible.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just recently, with our air conditioner going out, I'm not going to say the company because
you have a podcast.
I have a podcast. But I was friends with the guy, right? Like not friends, but like on social media, I was like knew the guy. Acquaintance. I called him to come repair it. He's like, I can't come till Friday. And I'm like, okay, fine. I scheduled with him. Called another company because I'm like, well, I should probably like get other quotes. And then also it's really hot. I want it fixed. Yeah. So I call another company. They can come out the next day. They came out. They're like, yeah, you need to replace it. I'm like, okay. So I call this other guy, the guy that I scheduled with. Yeah. And he got mad that I called another company and pretty much hung up. Actually, he did hang up on me and told me to just go with them. They're cheaper. And hung up on me, blocked me on social media. Yeah. Wow. And then I sent him a text.
Temper tantrum.
I sent him a text message. I'm like, hey man, like that was extremely like rude and unprofessional to hang up on me. And no response. He blocked my number too. Wow. I was like, wow, that's messed up.
Yeah. It's kind of the world we live in.
But
right
I'm
now.
like that. You're a business owner. Like you why would you do that? Yeah. You know, I don't.
You have to understand that you're gonna like see
terrible.
like multiple people too when it comes to your home. Like you're gonna always have multiple quotes for things.
Right.
So unless you're lazy like me, but, you know, I'm just like, okay, cool.
Well, and the thing is, like, I was telling my wife, I would have probably gone with him without getting other quotes. Yeah. But it's just, I wanted it fixed. Yeah. Yeah. It's
time. It's 90. It's been 90 degrees this week. It's been ridiculous. So.
Super hot. Yeah. Pets, kids.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to keep them cool.
But the thing is, like, even going to restaurants it's the same way. Like the experience. I think that's what people lack. They're lacking the experience. Like when you go to a restaurant, like one of our favorite restaurants in Lansing is Bodie's.
I haven't been to Bodie's.
You need to go.
What is Bodie's?
It's a steakhouse, chop house downtown. Okay. Yeah. But it's super intimate. Like the room I think only seats like maybe 15 people. Yeah. But when you go, the food is amazing, but you don't just get the food that's amazing. The service and the experience is everything.
Is it like a tasting menu by any chance or no?
No.
Okay. No, I've been to other places that are really small, like only 15 people, and it's like usually like a tasting menu or something. Okay. But
yeah, no, you get like so you order a steak. It's a giant steak that you can share, and then everything's shareable.
Oh, okay.
So everything's big portions.
So one of the restaurants that I like, I like Craioli's downtown in Old Town. I like them. I'm probably not saying their name correctly, so I'm sorry if they're listening. But the first restaurant I really ended, it was the most embarrassing story too. We were supposed to go do this lunch with some partners at Capitol Prime. I was over, I don't know on what side of town, but it's
Eastwood.
Yeah, we're by the movie theater and everything like that. And I was still relatively new, and it turns out it wasn't there, so it was actually in their studio. They just got their dates mixed up. So, but to like apologize for that, they gave us like a $50 gift card, and I had gotten it right around my marketing partner's birthday, TK, and he's a younger dude. We get along really well, and I was like, hey, do you have any plans for your birthday? Since we kind of earned this gift card together. Do you want to go there together? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. So we go, and we were gonna see a movie afterwards because we're both like really big movie buffs. And this is right after Stranger Things, like season 4 came out, and I was wearing like a Hellfire t-shirt. Like, do you watch
I have
Stranger
not
Things?
seen it.
Okay, well,
No.
anyways, it's just like this little D&D shirt. It's graphic tee, obviously. And I walk in to meet him there after work, and this place is so ritzy, like so nice. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. And I'm like, it looks that we're practically on a date, right? Like, and I'm like, this is the most awkward thing that I've ever done. I was just trying to treat him on his birthday. We had gotten a gift card. It was like, and I just feel so underdressed there. But like, I eventually went back. So that's one of the places I really like, but it was just so embarrassing. I was there and I was like, oh my God, like just
That's
so red in the
hilarious.
face. I was like, it's not supposed to be a date. Don't make this out. Like, it was just supposed to be like a treat. Like,
That's hilarious.
But,
When I go to like a fancy restaurant, like Bodie's is kind of
is it kind of fancy?
yeah, it's kind
That's
of
good to
fancy,
hear.
but I don't dress up. Like I don't wear like a suit and tie.
We love to dress up. My
Yeah?
husband and I do. Yeah. Well, I think that's all part of my personality, right? It's
Yeah.
like, like if I'm going to go out someplace, I always like to stand out. Whenever I do go to those networking events, things like that. Like I'm always just dressed audaciously to leave an impression. But
You definitely leave an impression.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I met you, I'm like, wow, like I remembered that.
Yeah.
Like I remember you. Like
Yeah.
it's part. You could tell it's definitely part of your personality.
Yeah.
And so
I
like,
hope it was a good memory. I try to leave with good
oh, absolutely.
memories.
I mean,
good.
I reached out to you and
Yeah,
still had
yeah.
your business card. So,
Yeah, it was good.
but I think like for somebody like you in that position and going to like, cause we met at the Sexton where you're
Yeah.
talking to children or
Yeah.
kids, I think it's important like for them to see that.
Yeah.
To see that it is possible for you to be able to kind of
Got
be
in
your.
trouble with them the last time.
Did you really?
I did.
What'd you do?
Okay. Well, this is the first time I'll talk about it because like I got, but
Spill the beans.
I know the
love
beans. Okay, so I always try to be myself. And I'm telling the kids about like how like, go after your dreams. Don't listen to anyone else. Like if you want to do something, like if you're torn between two different things, like I was, like speech pathology or like something in media, like you're eventually going to end up the place where you need to be. So like listen to the universe and like just follow your dreams. Like don't necessarily listen to everything your parents have to say, but they're junior high kids, right? I like to cause strife in people's lives apparently, and a parent had complained that like although like they should follow their hearts, like I don't understand why she would tell them not to listen to their parents.
Oh,
And
my
I might
gosh.
have I was vibing. I was just go off the vibe. I might have dropped the F-bomb. PG-13. You can have one F-bomb, right? And like they were all 12 and 13. So, but apparently I think this girl really connected with me, and she was talking about me to her parents, and then the parents just didn't like what I had ended up
gosh.
leaving them with a message of oh, they were also saying like, oh, like I was like, I was super unprofessional the entire time I was doing this job, but that's because like I wanted to find a place. I had told them, I was like, if I'm moving across country for this job, I'm just going to be 100% me. I'm not going to filter myself. I'm not going to like do any of these other things. And I had said, I was like, I cursed in my cover letter, like where I was like, you wouldn't believe the shit I would do for you or something like that. And it's not like that was it. Right. And they're all
Right.
vibing with me. They're all just like eating up this energy because they never have somebody there who's like,
Being real.
yeah, exactly. And that class where I dropped the F-bomb actually gave me like a standing ovation. Like as they all like I was like, okay, that's it. And they were just like, they were like kind of clapping. I was like, no, you guys don't need to clap for me. And then they like really started clapping, and I was just like, oh, okay, like this is weird. But yeah, no. So like apparently one of the kids, like I think really connected, went to their parents about it, and they were upset, saying like, oh, like you don't have to be professional in this day and age and blah blah blah. And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
the whole point of those junior achievement chats, right, are to connect with at least one kid. I'm in there trying to connect with the creatives. I'm in there trying to tell them like, hey, if you love photography, you could be a graphic designer. You could do this, you could do that. If you love to write, you could end up writing blogs or all of these other things. And just trying to tell them, hey, there are other jobs out there where you can be creative and you don't have to be a pencil pusher if that's what you really want to do with your life. And there's ways to find that, and you might not know about them right now. That was my message, right?
Right.
I gave them my life story just like I kind of did with you, and they just hold on to it, and they loved it so much. But I was also giving out free go-kart races and accidentally. They loved it so much, and so it was just so heartbreaking to get that email from Junior Achievement saying like, maybe you should just stick with the high schoolers. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
but
Well,
it happens. But
I
like, I
think-
think I connected with them. It sucks that I can't connect with them more now,
Yeah.
but like, because I did just kind of like lose my filter for a moment because I was vibing with them so much, but
I think
whatever.
Yeah, but I think to say that you're not professional, you don't even have to be professional nowadays. Like why? Like society
Yeah.
pushes this idea of
Yeah.
what professionalism
Exactly.
is, and it doesn't need to look like one thing.
I know.
specifically.
And that's exactly what I told them. I was like, you guys should be that my message was be yourself. because you're gonna just keep job hopping around until you find the right place.
Right.
Like like I had said, I had put on all these professional sheens for every other job that I've been at, and it would be a turn and burn job. I'd be there for a year, 9 months, all these different things, because once I got comfortable with them, they didn't like who the real Jackie was.
Right.
So all of a sudden, I'm having these problems. So I was like, if I'm just one last shot at marketing, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to be 100% myself and see what happens. And they loved me, and I found the right fit for that. And that was my story. That was what I was trying to tell them, was that like be yourself.
Right.
Like, you don't need to have a professional sheen, like be respectful, but
Right.
in the long term, do what's going to be right for you, and don't like sheen over your rough edges. You know?
Well, you should definitely find where you belong.
Yeah.
In your, in everything.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I get that, like, they don't want you swearing in front of kids.
Yeah.
But
it was one F-bomb.
Still.
It's PG-13. You're allowed to have one.
They don't swear. Come on.
I know, exactly. And I was just like, whatever. It was like, I'm sorry. I was just being passionate. We were vibing, but it happens. But with Lansing, I think High Caliber definitely does try to be one of those destinations and those locations to bring people in. I try a lot with my different marketing tactics and everything like that. And I try to work with other places, like that's part of Big Kid Bingo, is working with like all the other cool places around Lansing.
Right.
And, finding things. Sure, my big ticket items are over in Detroit or the Jackson County Fair, but,
Well, it's all who donated, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
can't
but,
help that.
it's good. We're definitely trying. We are looking to expand and have a second location.
Really?
So those locations, yeah.
Where at?
Well, we've gone up in the air quite a few times about it. So like the cities that you've mentioned, like Grand Rapids or Detroit and things like that, like we consider it. It's all just a matter of like, picking out the right location. It's wild that we have been as successful as we are in Okemos, Lansing, right? Because everyone's like, you built a go-kart track in Lansing and you're doing that well. Like, yeah, kind of. Like, we gave the people what they wanted and they love it and they show up for it. So,
right. Well, you literally have everything that like an adult would want.
Yeah, exactly.
You have go-karts, you have drinking, you have axe throwing.
Yep. Rage room,
jellyball blasters.
Yeah, we're a big kid adult playpen, kind of. So.
And it's big. You don't feel confined.
Yeah.
Like, so when it's busy, like you can go do other things.
Yep.
And you don't feel like you're waiting and the lines aren't terribly long.
Usually not, yeah. So on Saturdays
arcade?
It can be. We have an arcade. We're actually expanding the I don't know if I should have said that, but we are expanding the arcade. I'm excited for it. It's gonna happen at the end of the summer. We're gonna have like kind of a kid portion arcade where we currently have it, and then I believe we're going to be having like more arcade games like on the other side, just like over where by Pocket Soccer is.
Okay.
And we're gonna have like more adult games over there.
Well, and I like that you guys are starting to do. Like, you're starting to change it to where it's more family friendly.
Yeah.
Like, you have this stuff for the adults, but you also have like the go karts for the kids
the
now.
mini go-karts, for
those,
kids 5
those
and up.
things are cute.
So we are still very much focused on making sure the adults have fun. But somebody once said to Jordan, our owner and CEO, that like, hey, I'm an adult, but I also like to have fun with my kids. And he was like, oh, maybe we should have mini go-karts, so they can have fun too.
So how does that work? Do you race with the kids?
So if you fits, you sits. But they're very small. But if you can fit your butt into those tiny little bucket seats, you can race with them.
Okay, so it's just the little go-karts at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
During each race.
Every race, we're never putting a regular size go-kart with a mini go-kart. It's always just the mini. So you do sometimes see like adults out there, and it goes at the slower speed and everything like that. But they, if you can fit in it, you can race it. I can kind of fit in it. I have very wide hips. I kind of have to like do this like rock with it type thing. But it is, it's fun. And then we lowered the ages for all of our other activities that we could then. We couldn't lower axe throwing, obviously, but we lowered jellyball blasters from 8 to 5, throw bowling from 8 to 5. Arcade games are in there. Then pocket soccer is for any age for the most part. I'm trying to think of what else we have. I think that's about it. Rage room you can't do. But yeah, there's more activities now where families can participate. So
that's really cool. And I think important too, if you want to have a family day or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So second location. Anything else? Anything else that's big and upcoming?
Big Kid Bingo is coming, and I'm super excited for that. It's just going to be 6 weeks though. Hopefully we can continue it. Yeah, we've got some other big things coming, but I can't talk about them yet. I don't even know if I was supposed to say anything about the arcade, but I did anyways. So, but yeah, some exciting trivia nights that are coming up and stuff like that. We're moving the karaoke. Maybe, since you are bringing in the open mic night and you don't physically work there, I'll give it some consideration because it's always the employees who are like, open night, mic night. And
I think you guys need to do comedy.
Yeah.
It's a perfect spot.
It's so big over there though. So it's like if you don't fill it up with guests.
I think the only issue that you might have with the comedy is that it's like people walk through there to get to the other portion. That's
the hardest part about it. That really is. And that's like why we stopped doing the live music events, because it's like people that they just found it it's a free activity, but it was too passive.
Right.
And so is live, like a comedy show would be passive.
Yep.
We found that people really enjoy karaoke because it's another activity to offer. It's something free that they can do during that off time, during that downtime or something like that if they come in there. But it's more participation than just passive entertainment. So I think that's why karaoke has been more successful than like the live music and things like that.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. And then as far as like events coming up, do you guys have anything this summer?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, of course we do. So I am, as the marketing director, I put on these appreciation days that I really focus on. We just had one in May for Teacher Appreciation Day. It was teacher and staff, wherein we invited all the teachers and staff in the Lansing area, as long as they had an ID. It could be a janitor, lunch lady, it could be the pencil pushers, anything like that. Could come out and
don't like pencil pushers.
They do the work I cannot do. I love them because they can do, their brain works in ways that mine cannot. So it's adoration. That's what that is. Okay. It's not hatred, it's adoration. The people who are doing the budget stuff though, I don't know, the office administrators, people like that. They got to come in and play for free for an entire day. They got the all access pass, and that gives you access to all of our activities. So you get to come in, do all of that for free. We didn't pay for people's drinks, but so they got to do that. And we have another appreciation day like that coming up. It's First Responders Appreciation Day. It's where we invite, and it's our second one. So like this will be our third appreciation day, but our second annual First Responders Appreciation Day. It's going to be July 18th. I just moved it. It's July 18th. It's a Tuesday. We're inviting first responders, EMTs, police officers, emergency dispatch, and nurses this time around as well, too, out to have a free day of fun with us as well, where they will get the all access pass. We did our first one in September last year. We wanted to change the date a little bit to not have me packed back to back, because we also have the Meridian Motor Fest, a big car show that happens over Labor Day weekend. So I'm just trying to spread myself out, with all of our events, but that's going to be great. I'm super excited. I am just beginning to work on that marketing campaign where we do work with, I do radio commercials. We do on-air commercials with Fox 47, where they kind of look like I'm a host talking to people, and
cool.
Stuff like that.
That's really cool.
And then, everything that we do online as well, too. So that's really exciting. And then the other big event is at the end of the summer. It is the Meridian Motor Fest. It's on Sunday, September 3rd of Labor Day weekend. And it is more than just a car show. It celebrates everything High-Octane. We're going to have a playhouse there for the kids. We're going to actually feature for the first time a junior entrepreneur children's market there, where somebody reached out to us and we're like, hey, we have all these kids who like to learn and sell things while learning, like this whole market type thing. So we're going to be featuring that with them. Wow. That's going to be really cool. We also have all these classes and contests, awards, loudest, exhaust, car limbo, truck limbo.
Wow.
We have a car that you get to smash for $5. You can take a couple whacks at the car. So we kind of bring the rage room outside to a car smash. We have a monster truck there for rides then as well too, for families and everything like that.
That's Labor Day weekend?
Yes, it's Labor Day weekend. And what's really great is that all of the money that we bring in, through the sponsorships or people purchasing to be part of the class contest or anything like that, all gets donated then to a nonprofit. I would love to say what nonprofit that is right now, but I don't know if we've officially announced it, but just note it as a Lansing nonprofit, local Lansing nonprofit that we're going to be donating all of that to. And it's going to be it'll be at least $12,000 worth of donations or something like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It's cool to see a business like that. I mean, especially because High Caliber is local. It's a locally owned business.
Yeah.
It's cool to see them give back to the community.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point behind the appreciation days and everything like that too. As I went into 2023 as the marketing director, I'm like, okay, so I have to keep in mind that I have to have some sort of marketing continuity with every location that we might end up having, right? In like 10 years, we want to have like 20 locations across the country,
Whoa.
right? And I want that for us, right? So how am I going to market that? Because every location is going to be different. Like the goofy stuff that we do. Yeah, the demographics everything. Are going to be different. People aren't going to necessarily get every joke that we get to do or anything like that, you know, because we are very jokey. But so I started on working on being high caliber in the community, which is like my flagship large marketing campaign that I can do at every location. No matter what community we're in, we're going to be participating with that community. So that's kind of the whole basis. I'm working with Fox and Town Square Media with Whittle and everything like that. These are these large community channels that you can go to learn about local things that are happening.
Right.
And then working with them to just kind of challenge all of Lansing. So, I mean, maybe I should come in with your city rep next time, but challenge all of Lansing to stand up and be a community together. And if they see us doing it, if they see this big, like, large brand share the spotlight with these other smaller brands or events, or all these other, like, we sponsored the Capital City Film Festival, and then we were just sponsoring with communities and schools where they, like, help children, you know, make sure that they're staying through school and, like, all of that, like, that's actually cool. Like, accomplishing all the way to graduation, providing them mental health or even shoes, you know, like, all of the things that kids could need. So we is
that a program? You guys sponsor it, so is that a program in the high school or schools?
They're in like 8 different schools, but it's like a national known. So, but we were working with the state one, communities and schools of Michigan.
Okay,
but it's a nationwide nonprofit that we were just partnering with. So I call them our partners, and what we do is we take our marketing and our spotlight, our limelight, and share it with them. So people recognize High Caliber already. And it's like, how do I keep High Caliber at the front of mind instead of just doing general branding all the time, right? Just like go-karts all the time. It's like, okay, eventually you're going to know that we're just doing go-karts, right?
Yeah.
But how do I capitalize on getting individuals to want to continue spending money with us? Because our average customer comes in one time every 8 months. So it's like, how can I get them to come in more often, A? And B, as we have more competition coming in, like Dave & Buster's is coming, Zap Zone is opening in the Lansing Mall. You know, like there's a couple of things that are direct competition kind of for us. Kind of, like not the direct thing, but like they have a lot of things in common. Yeah. And the way I'm doing that is by showing that we're a part of the community and that we care about the community. So that's kind of like, hey, like you need some marketing professional help, or like you have an event coming up, like Communities and Schools has an event coming up, you know, and we're going to be attending that. So we've been using some of our marketing money where it's just me hosting said Communities and Schools representative and having them tell their story about their event that's coming up or what they do in the community and things like that. So
that's very cool.
Yeah. It's a large campaign to kind of wrap your mind around.
So how do you plan on doing that for all these different locations that you guys plan on opening? Mm-hmm. I mean, because
same thing.
It seems, you think you can manage that? Or obviously you'd have to hire people, but you would obviously be over that, oversighting.
Well, so like right now I do for, since it's a brand new campaign and I'm trying it out, we're doing it 6 times throughout this year, right? So it's like every other month for the most part that I'm doing these big, large campaigns of being high caliber in the community. But it's the same thing as showing up. You know, it's starting off small, like seems sponsoring. Like it is, but at the same point, like I've been building myself up and Zach up, our general manager and stuff like that, to kind of be one of the faces of High Caliber. So like that way we can have multiple faces at every location. Maybe that's the GM, maybe it's something else. Maybe maybe I'm traveling a lot, who knows? But that is something that we can accomplish at each location. I would just have to take my hands off the smaller things, right? I would have to have all the smaller things that I do, like flyers and emails and everything like that. That would have to be smaller, and I would have to dedicate my time to what that community sponsorship or partnership would look like in each location and just kind of like plan it out, you know?
Right.
So, but I have really great partners at Town Square Media and at Fox 47 who've like really helped us like develop this and figure it out. And
that's really cool.
All of that other stuff. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So.
Jackie, is there anything else you want to talk about real quick? No.
I'm dried up now.
We've been going for over an hour. So
I figured.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was good. I hope I could answer a little bit more about Lansing, but it was, So,
I think it was fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it was fine.
Are you sure? Your eyes are like telling me like you could have done better.
No. I think you're really good. You're a good guest. You're a good.
Okay.
So your husband should definitely start a podcast, and you should co-host it.
I know, right? No, I need him to have the podcast so his anger doesn't come out towards me for the food. Like if the food's bad, like I don't want to be a part of that. I want to just put him in a little bubble and like, you have your anger bubble over here and I'm just going to enjoy my happiness. So.
Oh, that's funny.
But
all right. Well, thanks for doing this, Jacki.
thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. And I'm sure we'll do it again.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool.
Bye.
Thanks.